Hey, how are you today? Welcome to another edition of the Next Evolution Athletics Q&A segment. This is part two for July because my clients have had some really awesome questions this week and last week. So we're just going to continue on with the last one. First question was finding new ideas for high protein breakfasts. Um, I love this one because I'm so traditional when it comes to breakfast, yet I'm so weird when it comes to breakfast at the same time. I've literally eaten everything from your classic eggs and toast, which is what I currently have, to meat and nuts, and pretty much everything in between. Salads, nothing's off the table. I think what catches most people is they think only in the traditional sense of breakfast, and they think cereal, oatmeal, and things like that. And while they're decent breakfasts, if you need to increase your protein intake, you have to find a way to increase your protein intake. So while egg whites are an awesome go-to and one that I pretty much are a staple in my diet, I've also believed that having high protein omelets, chickens, cheese, if you can tolerate dairy and things like that, steak and eggs, classic high protein breakfast. But these are the ones I usually go to. Now, there's some other things that I'll do where I'll create like a high protein pancake. And one of the recipes I use the most is I'll add it'll be like eggs, oatmeal, bananas, vanilla, and cinnamon, but I'll throw protein powder in it. So it increases its protein intake like just by adding the protein powder, and it tastes amazing. Um, that's another option. I find those really effective ways to get your protein intake up in the morning. Or you could just have your classic oatmeal and then have a protein shake with it on top. I mean, you don't have to be locked into the traditional I need cereal for breakfast, which is pretty much what we all grew up on in North America. Um, don't be afraid to experiment and play with it and eat meat for breakfast. It's a simple way to get your protein intake up. Most people don't have an adequate amount of protein um, for performance. Um, so definitely you want to get your high protein breakfast, and those are some great ideas right there. Uh, Another one was about cooking. We had a lot of nutrition ones this week. Cooking because people are getting bored of the same old food. This is again something that I don't really have trouble with because I have such a basic diet and I live so simply. I only have one meal a day that's creative, and it's honestly because my wife makes supper. I take care of breakfast. We take care of our own lunch, but she takes care of supper. And we'll rotate with stir fries, um, tacos, big one in the house on Tuesday. Chicken, like there's just a ton of different meals. But one of the best ways to figure it out is if you're having trouble getting creative with your meals and you're just kind of bored eating the same old thing, dedicate 10 to 15 minutes a day and just look on YouTube for recipes or Google for certain things. Pick beef and recipes for beef. You can have literally a million different um, types of recipes. And then just pick one night a week. It could be a Friday night, a Saturday night, where you and the family have an experimental meal where you guys try something completely different. I find when it comes to people having trouble and getting bored of eating the same old food is because they're not being very creative. And I get it, people are busy, but at the end of the day, it's a skill we have to learn. Um, it doesn't take much time if you understand the basic fundamentals. Um, sure, you're going to mess a couple up. Yeah, but guess what? It's a learning process. So really just dedicate 10 or 15 minutes of time just to try different things. Uh, you find 6 or 7 different recipes during the week. You and the family vote on it on Friday night what you want to do. You make it on Saturday once you get all the ingredients. You guys make it together. It's a great little family night. It's fun. You know, you get to experiment. It's a good time. So that's what I do when it comes to a lack of creativity. Um, I'll just look it up on the internet. It's really that simple. Yeah. Um, and the other one was being consistent with training and nutrition and becoming better at focusing. Well, let's just break this down. Being consistent with training and nutrition. It can be tough when you're trying to figure out how to be consistent with your training and nutrition if you don't have a goal. I always have some sort of training goal in the back of my mind at all times. And that's been one of my, I would say it's probably been the cornerstone of me having the ability to train consistently for about 25 years. Um, whether it's a bigger squat, bench, or dead, or whether it's, um, doing something with kettlebells, sprinting, running, whatever the heck it is, um, I always have a very large goal that I want to accomplish, and I have dozens, if not hundreds, of checkpoints along the way, depending on what I'm trying to accomplish. And I find when I have that in mind, and it's something I really want to accomplish, it does help me massively when it comes to consistently training and focusing on the nutrition. Now, primarily my goals are performance based. I typically don't like to have weight loss goals or body fat goals where you're focused on the scale or a certain percent body fat. Those can be much more difficult to control and manage, because if you want to lose 20 pounds and your timeline is 2 months, but every day you step on the scale, you don't lose 2, 3 pounds, and that affects you in a negative way, people have a hard time staying focused because they get down on themselves. There's all kinds of feelings of guilt and shame, and it just really doesn't work. But I find if you have the goal of losing 20 pounds and you set a performance goal, like I want to do one chin up or I want to run a 5K, I find focusing on the performance goals, like the process of the accumulating and acquiring the performance goals, makes a huge difference long term. And you have to understand there's a difference between health training and performance training. And in my opinion, health training is training for life. You're training to be better at everything that's going to get you through life. That could be anything from managing your weight to managing your strength, muscle mass, cardiovascular health, blood panel markers. There's 100 different aspects to training for health, but the difference is there's no deadline. So all you're trying to do is move the needle every day. Performance has a deadline. If I have an athlete that has to start peaking at this part of the season, then we have to set a timeline on the backtracks and we start peaking for that time of the season. Big difference. Now, strength and health can never be divorced. That was said by George Hackenschmidt back in the late 1800s, and he was 100% right. The healthier you are, generally the stronger you'll become. So you have to understand that while you're focusing on your strength and performance, you have to also focus on your health, and vice versa. If you want to focus on your health, you have to focus on strength and performance. It's just a different deadline and mindset and timelines. So it really does help massively when you look at what you want to accomplish in a year's time, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, all the way up to where you're going to assume you're not going to be alive anymore, like 40, 50 years' time, and what you want to accomplish in those things. If you want to have the ability to pick up your grandkids at 55, 60 years old, but you're having trouble just picking up your own current kid because of your current health situation and strength situation, you have to start correcting that now. If you want to start peaking for a season and you want to perform at your absolute best, then you have to start focusing on your health and things you need to do to get better for that day now. And I find having those hard, concrete goals that you really are passionate about and want to accomplish will help you be consistent, but it takes time. You have to form the habits that allow you to be consistent. Like I get antsy when I don't train because I've been training so long, and I have to learn to peel it back. So I have to learn the habit of not overdoing it and recovering adequately to help me in my performance goals. That's a hard one to get your head around when you like training. But yeah, I find having the ability to create goals that you really care about and want to accomplish will be far better for you being consistent in your training and nutrition. And for focus, that just takes practice. I know this particular individual that asked the question, and focus in this person's mind isn't about training, it's about staying focused within the session. Again, that takes practice. For a guy with ADD, I've learned over the years of practicing strength, practicing my lifts, that I have to be in the lift. I can't be anyplace else. So that just takes practice and time. Um, I have known people to get distracted mid-set, like literally stop and just kind of stare off into the distance on rep 6 of 10. It's maddening as a coach. Where are you going? Come back. This is how you die. You have to stay focused, and it just takes practice. And learning how to focus yourself and center yourself and focusing on what's happening internally under a squat, bench, dead, or carry, or chin up, or wherever. You really just have to learn and create the habit of being there. It takes time. Folks, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that helps. If you like what you see and hear, please hit the like and subscribe button. I've got more of these questions because my clients are asking some awesome questions, and I'm super appreciative of it. If you guys have any questions yourself, don't be afraid to DM me. Have a great day. Get your strong on.